welcome to the deep dive. We take that stack of source material you've got, pull out the crucial bits, and basically give you the fast track to knowing what's what. Today, we're diving into a pretty dark fantasy world. Think noble dead, forbidden magic, that kind of thing. And the really painful origins of one specific heroine.
Yeah, and our goal isn't just to, rehash the plot. We really want to synthesize the history, the complicated and dangerous rules that govern Magiere, because she's a Dhampir and her friends.
Right.
They're on this desperate search for answers right now in Drovinka, which is just this bleak, unforgiving place. And, well, what they find, it's much darker than they thought.
So Magiere, she's our central figure. And the core irony, the thing that kicks this whole investigation off in the sources is that she's a Dhampir, half human, half vampire.
Right.
Who was, and the sources are explicit, sired for the purpose of slaying the undead.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Why would her own vampire father create something designed to kill his own kind? That question is really what fuels this whole deep dive.
It really is. Magiere is just this walking contradiction. And to even start understanding her, this sort of paradoxical weapon, we have to look at the very unstable group she travels with.
Okay, yeah, let's break down the team. You've got Magiere, dark hair, pale skin, very distinct look. Then there's Leesil, her partner. He's a half-elf, and he seems to be constantly worried about her.
And he's got his own quest, too, looking for his mother, Nina. She's been gone a long, long time.
Then there's Chap, who seems like just a dog.
Right, on the surface. But the sources pull back the curtain. He's actually a fey canine in disguise. A majay-hi.
A majay-hi.
Okay, and his role is huge because it turns out he's the one who deliberately brought Leesil and Magiere together years back. So their whole partnership, while it has real affection, it's also built on this manipulation by Chap for reasons we don't fully get yet.
Wow, okay. So there's that hidden layer. And then there's Wynn.
Ah, Wynn.
She joins them as a scholar, a translator. Seems helpful, right? Offers her academic skills.
Yeah, but secretly, she's taking notes. She's observing Magiere for Tilswith back in Bella.
Why?
Because Magiere isn't a normal Dhampir. Her power, her nature, it's unusual, often destructive, and it's got the attention of some powerful groups. Wynn's basically an embedded informant.
So the core group itself is shaky. One's manipulating them, one's spying on them.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the people hunting them, also complicated. Welstiel massing, a noble dead. He used to be an ally, but now he's relentlessly after Magiere since his treachery came out.
And he's got a partner, Chane, another noble dead,
Yeah.
but the sources say he's reluctant.
Yeah, Chane's involvement feels more like obligation, maybe necessity. It's not the same kind of malice Welstiel has. It paints this picture where, allies are spies and enemies might not even want to be enemies.
It's a tangled web.
Definitely. And that web leads them to Chemestuk Keep. This is huge. It's the village where Magiere was born.
Right. And she's going there hoping to find records, anything about her father, Brian Massing.
Exactly. But what they actually find just throws everything about her origins into chaos.
Okay, so this is where it gets dark. Leesil, he's always the observant one, isn't he?
Always. He notices a wall in the cellar looks wrong, newer than the rest.
So they break it down.
They do. And behind it, a hidden room. And inside, 6 sets of skeletal remains.
6? Just bones.
It's not just bones. This wasn't a burial. The evidence points to sacrifice, a ritual chamber.
And who were they? Do the sources say?
Oh, yeah. And the identities are critical for the lore. 1 elf, 1 dwarf, a human guard, and then 3 others. Really unusual. Creatures representing the legendary Uri.
Yurijisht, children of the Fae.
That's them. And specifically 1 tied to air, 1 to water, and 1 to fire essence.
Okay, wait. Fae blood? Not just humans or elves? That feels significant. Why sacrifice creatures tied to elements like that?
That's the key question, isn't it? It suggests the ritual wasn't just about killing. It was about harvesting immense specific kinds of power. These weren't random victims. They were like components in a spell.
Components for...
Well, Wynn uses her scholarly skills, does some analysis. The bones, roughly 26 years old.
Which matches?
Perfectly with Magiere's birth year. And the way they were killed bled out, ritually confirms it. This was some kind of arcane process directly linked to her creation.
Finding out your birth involved something like that? I can't even imagine.
It's devastating. And before she can even really process it, Magiere does something else. She goes to the graveyard nearby, looking for her mother Magilia's grave.
Why? Is she just looking for closure, or...?
It's a Dhampir thing. Apparently, if they touch a victim's remains near where they died, sometimes they get a vision of the final moments, but crucially, through the killer's eyes.
Whoa. So she was actively trying to see how her mother died.
Yes, she wanted that horrific truth.
Didn't Chap do something here? The sources mention him?
Ah, yes. This is where Chap's protection gets really intense. He knows how Magiere died. He knows how truly awful it was. So before Magiere gets there, he races ahead.
Oh.
Digs up her gravestone, hides it, conceals the marker completely.
He stopped her from getting the vision.
He did. It was like deep psychological first aid. He knew seeing that vision on top of finding the sacrificed Fableds, it would have broken her. He's carrying this immense burden, actively shielding her from the very truth she's seeking.
Wow. Okay, so she doesn't get the vision. What happens next? Where do they go from Chemestuk?
They move on into the fief of Pudralatsat, and here they run into a completely different kind of magical threat. Not noble dead politics, but pure sorcery.
Okay. What's the situation?
There's this local lord, Stefan. He's trapped in his own manor by a sorcerer named Vordana. And Vordana isn't just holding him hostage. He's like draining the life force from the entire town. The people, the livestock, everything is weakening.
How's he doing that? Some kind of curse?
Yeah, the sources call it a has. It's a Numinese term for really powerful mental compulsion. But the power source is key. Leesil figures out pretty quickly that Vordana isn't a noble dead like Chane or Welstiel.
Okay, not a vampire then. What is he?
He's a reanimated dead sorcerer. It's a crucial difference in this world's magic system.
How so? What makes a reanimated sorcerer different from a noble dead?
Well, noble dead are usually aristocratic, ancient vampires, right? Power comes from bloodlines, blood itself.
Yeah.
Vordana, though, his power wasn't inherent. It was external, darker. He was using that has spell, yes, but the engine fueling it all was some kind of bound entity, trapped in a little brass vial or maybe an urn.
Like a magical battery?
Sort of, yeah. A really nasty one. It means Vordana doesn't have typical vampire weaknesses. You can't just stake him or expose him to sunlight.
Sounds tricky to deal with. Needs specialized knowledge.
Exactly. And this is where Wynn, the scholar who's also spying on them, this is where she suddenly comes invaluable. For real this time.
How does she help?
She performs what the sources call a mantic trick. She's not a fighter, obviously, but she's very sensitive to magical energies. She tunes her spirit sight focuses her perception specifically to the element of spirit.
And that lets her do what?
It lets her see the life force being drained. She can literally perceive the magical leakage from the land and follow it back to its source. She becomes their tracker for this specific kind of invisible threat.
Clever. So Wynn finds Vordana, then comes the fight, I assume.
Right. And it has major consequences. Vordana hits Magiere with a spell that triggers her full Dhampir state, that predatory frenzy.
Oh no. She loses control.
Completely. It's bad. And Leesil. Well, Leesil proves his absolute devotion. He saves her by letting her feed on him, on his blood.
Wow, that's intense, but it also creates this really dangerous dependency, doesn't it?
Totally. It cements their bond, but in this tragic, almost codependent way. Yeah. It highlights the cost of keeping her grounded.
Okay, so Leesil saves Magiere. What about Vordana? How do they stop him?
This is where Chane shows up again. Remember the reluctant noble dead who was tracking Wynn? He intervenes decisively. He grabbed that brass vial, Vordana's power source,
Smashes it.
throws it onto a hot forge nearby. The vial melts, the entity trapped inside dissipates,
Right.
and Vordana just dissolves, gone.
So Chane saved the day.
He did, but he pays for it. In the chaos, Vordana's reanimated minions overwhelm him. The sources indicate he's killed.
What? Chane dies after being this reluctant pursuer. He makes a sacrifice.
Seems so. It's a pretty dramatic end for a character who started out as, well, an antagonist.
Man, the costs keep piling up. What about Leesil? You said Vordana's magic affected him.
Yeah, badly. Even after Vordana's gone, Leesil is hit with these intense delusions, horrifying hallucinations. He sees ghosts of people he's killed in the past.
Oh, wow.
And the most painful one, the ghost of his own dead mother, Nina.
Oof, that's rough, targeting his guilt.
Exactly. Vordana's magic digs right into that trauma, making sure the violence he's committed, mostly to protect Magiere, keeps haunting him. He can't just move on.
Okay, so Vordana's dealt with, but Chane is dead, Leesil's tormented. Where do they go from there? They must be getting close to answers about Magiere's father now.
They are. They press on toward Pudralatsat. It's this ruined keep, and it has history connecting Brian Massing, Welstiel, and this ancient necromancer named Ubad. They suspect Ubad is involved somehow.
Closing in on the source.
Right. And Pudralatsat delivers another shock, something that really contrasts with Magiere's own path. They find a child there.
A child? In a ruined keep.
A Dhampir child named Thomas. He's young but looks withered, weak, abandoned. And he tells them something crucial. He says he was taught by a young master.
Welstiel.
Sounds like it. Taught to feed only on creatures that were already dead. Never on kin, never on the living unwillingly.
That tells you a lot about Welstiel, doesn't it? He was trying to create a different path for this kid, a moral path, maybe. Trying to prevent the kind of monster Magiere fears becoming.
It certainly seems that way. He's trying to avoid repeating the horror, which leads directly into the final confrontation. Magiere finally faces Ubad.
The ancient necromancer.
Yeah. He's masked, uses ghosts to see the world. He's clearly the root of the immediate evil. And isn't just fight her. He compels her, forces her to accept the vision from her dead mother, Magiere, the one Chap tried to prevent her from seeing.
Oh, wow. So now she gets the full story. No more shielding.
No more shielding. Ubad makes her see it all. The unvarnished, horrific truth.
Okay. Lay it on us. What does Magiere reveal in this vision? What was the real plan?
So the initial plan was already monstrous. Magiere's father, Brian Massing, the noble dead, Welstiel's father, he intended for Welstiel to drink the life essence from those 5 sacrificed Feybloods, the Orish.
Right, the ones in the cellar.
And then sire a child with Magiere, who apparently had some kind of special old blood.
And the purpose of this child?
To be a herald, a powerful, specialized being meant to serve Ubad's mysterious patron.
Okay, that's got enough, but you said there was a twist.
A massive one. Welstiel refused. He saw the ritual, saw what his father wanted to do, and he rejected it. He wouldn't participate.
He said no.
He did more than say no. He actively sabotaged it. To save Magiere, maybe himself, he murdered the actual Dhampir infant that Magiere had first carried.
He killed the original child.
Yes. Then he used some kind of decoy infant to trick Ubad and Brian into thinking the ritual had simply failed or the child died naturally. Then he fled. Magiere, the person we've been following, she is not that first child.
Wait, then. Who is she? How was she born?
She's the result of Brian's rage. Enraged by Welstiel's betrayal and escape, Brian. He raped Magiere. Magiere is the child of that horrific violence. Magiere died shortly after from the trauma of the birth and Brian feeding on her.
So Magiere isn't the intended herald. She's the consequence of the plan failing. Because of Welstiel's refusal and Brian's revenge?
Exactly. Her entire existence is rooted in noble dead treachery, Welstiel's desperate act of defiance, and this horrifying substitution. She was never meant to be this weapon operating outside their control. It completely reframes her destiny.
That knowledge, finding that out, must be world-shattering for her.
Absolutely. And the vision also clarifies the bigger picture. Ubad, he's just a servant, devoted to some ancient, powerful entity. A patron located, as Magiere says, high in the cold and ice.
So there's something even bigger behind Ubad.
Much bigger. Ubad even commands the collective spirit of the forest against Magiere in their final fight. It's an overwhelming power.
How does she beat that?
She uses her company, specifically Chap. His unique fey nature gives him some resistance to spirits and that kind of energy. She uses him as a distraction, basically, allowing her to get close enough to Ubad to land the killing blow.
So she wins, but at what cost and with what knowledge?
The ultimate tragic self-knowledge. She knows she's not just a weapon, but the accidental byproduct of horrific events, of refusal and revenge. Her power comes from sacrifice and brutality she never chose.
Okay, summing up the immediate aftermath then, they leave Drovinka.
Yes, finally. But Chane is gone, presumed dead. Wynn is wounded, and probably pretty freaked out by Magiere's dark side after seeing that frenzy in Leesil. He's still deeply troubled by those delusions Vordana triggered. He's not okay.
But they are moving forward.
The sources are clear on that. They're heading north, finally going to look for Leesil's mother, Nena. That seems to be the next goal.
Okay, so they have the truth about Magiere's origins, horrific as it is. But what stands out now, thinking about that bigger picture, Ubad served a patron.
That entity high in the cold and ice.
And Ubad's final words, spoken into Magiere's mind as he died, were, "Sister of the dead, lead on."
Yeah, chillin'. Right.
It really is. It leaves you, the listener, with this massive question as they head north. What is this powerful entity waiting in the ice, and what role does Magiere, this accidental, defiant life, now play in its terrifying grand plan? Seems like the deepest part of this dive is maybe just beginning.